Good evening, everyone. Today's session is on Matplotlib library, that is in Python. Now we know that Python offers a huge set of packages, right, through which we can build our programs. Right, we can import such libraries and we can do perform number of functions by using these packages. Now, today's session is on Matplotlib. We will be learning about how to visualize our data, how to represent our data graphically. It could be bar charts, it could be scatter plots, it could be histograms, it could be line charts. So, how we basically use our data and our data set and how to represent them visually, because when we visualize the data, it is the effective way to analyze the data, right? So let us start with the session. First of all, I am going to tell you about what is Matplotlib. For Matplotlib is a package, is a collection of functions that make Matplotlib work like MATLAB. So you may be aware about MATLAB, in which you have to perform different functions, like you are taking any input and showing that graph, or you are creating any figures, right, or plotting area in a figure. Some you may plot some lines in a plotting area. So there are number of things which you can do with the help of MATLAB. Now, Matplot library is going to help you out. Using this library, basically, you are representing your data. You may call the different functions, and directly it is going to have effect on your program. Or like first of all, what we do is we import the data set and we plot the different graphs, right? So it is a very useful library, but before importing the matplotlib.pyplot, we have to have numpy also installed on our system. So I have already told you in my previous sessions, like Python has different packages, or you may install Python through Anaconda prompt, right? So once you have installed the Anaconda prompt, the next thing is, on your command prompt, you may type it Anaconda prompt and open the Anaconda prompt window. Then you need to install all the libraries. Like you need to run the command conda install matplotlib. It may be numpy, it may be your OpenCV, CV2, or you may be installing the pandas. So there are number of libraries which can be installed and it is free of cost. That means they are this is a open source package. You need not have to pay anything for it, and you can use the Python language and build your programs. So this is the advantage why we are using Python, and what is the motive behind this library, that is Matplotlib. Right. Now let us start with the library. Let us see how we use different functions, how we create different figures, what is x-axis, what is y-axis, how we import this file, how we import this package. Let us see. First of all, we will be plotting the bar chart. Before starting the bar chart, you may understand what do you mean by a bar chart. So there are two types of data we have in our program, right? When we have our data set, it may consist of two types of values. Either the value is of qualitative data or it is quantitative data, right? Means your data is in some categories or the data is in some values. It has some ratio or interval type of scale. So there are levels of measurements we have in our data set. So Later series I will be telling you like what are levels of management, what are statistical concepts, what are the types of correlation. Meanwhile, let us see what is a bar graph. Most of you know about bar graph. Basically, we are representing showing the comparison among discrete categories. So we have different categories and we are showing the values, how they are related to each other. Like you have height or length proportional to the values that they represent. The bars can be plotted horizontally or the bars can be plotted vertically. So first chart that we have taken is bar chart. Now let us see how we plot this bar chart using Matplotlib. Right. So taking an example of Matplotlib bar plot, it shows the number of students enrolled for various courses at an institute. It could be like the course could be C, the course could be C++, Java, PHP or Python. Right. Now before starting any program, first of all, our motive is to import the libraries. So the first line that we need to write down is the importing the different libraries. So import is a keyword. Matplotlib.plyplot is a library which we need to install and call in our program, and we are taking it as a alias. We are giving it as a alias name, that is plt. So wherever we are calling the library, that is matplotlib.pyplot. So we have such library in which we are giving an alias name to it, that is plt. Now let us start with how to plot the figure, how to draw this borderline and how to make these categories, right? So starting with the first part that we have, first you import the library, right? Then take a figure variable which is calling the function figure. And for calling the function figure, the figure function is defined under the library, that is matplotlib, and plt is a alias name of matplotlib. So if you want to like access any of the function, you have to use that alias name of that particular library dot the function name. So the function is figure. Now in this figure we have called in the next statement, ax is a variable which is basically defining the axis of the figure. So we will be using a function that is add axis, right? And that contains the values, that is 0 to 1. We are just giving the values like how our axis will be going, right? So we will, this is basically for drawing this box, right? So we will be giving axis in this type of syntax, that is 0 comma 0 comma 1 comma 1, right? After this we need to specify what, one tuple that we have taken, right? In that we have taken that variable, that is langs, and within langs we have defined the different courses, right? And within this courses, now what we are going to do is we are taking another list that is containing the values, right? Like 23, what are the, basically there is some relationship between langs list and the student list. So you are defining two variable names, like list name is languages and the second is students, right? Before, after specifying this, now you need to call the function, that is bar graph. For bar graph we have a function that is bar. So ax dot bar, within this function we need to call, we need to send two arguments. What are these two arguments? That is languages, and the second argument is number of students, right? And then just for printing the bar graph on the screen, we need to call the show function. So this is how we are calling the function that is bar and then drawing the bar graph on the screen, right? So accordingly, like for C we have 23. So you may see in the bar graph also it is showing 23, right here, somewhere here. Okay, for C++ we have 17. So this is 15, this is 16, this is somewhere here we are showing. So this is how we basically assign the variables x and y variables according to the values. So in the x variable, on the x-axis we are defining the categories. On the y-axis we have the values, corresponding values of that particular categories. This is how we plot the bar graph using Matplotlib. Right. Let us move on to other charts, other graphs. Second graph is histograms. Now when we have a range of values for a single variable, right, for a continuous variable, there is no relationship between that, like there are not two variables are there is a single variable and we are just showing the distribution of that numerical data. So what is histogram? Histogram is an accurate representation of distribution of numerical data, and that data is to a continuous variable. Yes, it's a kind of bar graph, but in bar graphs you have different categories, whereas in this a single variable is used. Bin is the ranges of values. Divide the entire ranges of values into series of intervals and count how many values fall into each category. So it is very important when we are defining this histogram. Now how to use this? So there are bins. There are 4 bins with 0 to 25. So you have taken these 4 bins because many students get confused what is a bin. So bin is nothing but a ranges of values. So the first bin that we have taken is this one. The first bin we have taken is 0 to 25. Second is 26 to 50. Third bin is 21 to 75. 51 to 75. Then we have is 76 to 100. So these are the 4 bins we have taken. Now within this bin, how many values are lying? It is going to have that kind of representation. Like suppose we are taking the, let us understand the coding first. So we have imported the Matplotlib library. You may write down matplotlib.pyplot, or you may directly like from the package you may call the particular function also. So we are calling it at the another syntax for Matplotlib. We may write it as from Matplotlib. Now which function, which library, which package you are going to use? Import pyplot, and you are giving the alias name as plt. Right. After this, you are importing the package that is numpy. Okay. Now after this, we are just subplotting the graphs, and for that we need to specify the axis as well. That we have given it as 1, 1. Now the very important part, now we are assigning the values, the ranges of values that lie between these intervals. We have given these number of values. Now let us see how many values are there. 22, 87, 5, 43. So what this graph is going to do is, np.array is the function for defining the numeric values. Like we are taking an array that takes the homogeneous collection of data, or you may say all the values are of integer type. In this array we have taken the values that are of integer type. Right. Now what we have to do is, like in bar graph we have called the function dot bar. Yes, we have called this function that is dot bar, this one. So for histograms, we are going to call the function that is hist. Okay, ax.hist, comma a. What is A? The values that are in array, that are defined in an array. And bins we have already specified. There are 4 bins in the program. We have given the ranges. Now after that I need to set a title. I need to give some title. So I will be calling one function that is set underscore title. Right. If we have some x sticks. So x sticks are basically on the x-axis and we are giving the labels also to the x-axis. So we have given the title of x-axis as marks and we have given the title of y axis as number of students. So these are some attributes of using the graph. You may include this part of ax.setTitle in the bar graph also. It is not only for histograms. You may add titles, you may add labels to any of the graph. Right. Then the last thing is we need to have plt.show function for displaying the graph on the screen. Right. Next chart is a pie chart. When we have a categories that needs to be represented in a pie chart, that is basically, you know, the properties of pie chart. It is basically making like calculating the 100% of the data is divided into percentage, and the total percentage we have taken is at 100, and it makes the degree of basically 360 degree, right, because it makes a complete circle. Now let us see what is a pie chart, and I will be showing you one example of how to use this pie chart. A pie chart can display one series of data. Pie chart shows the size of items in one data series proportional to the sum of the items. So sum of the item is, you may have 100, right? The data points in a pie chart are shown in the percentage of the whole pie. So what we have shown, we have in the following slide, we have shown that pie function is used to display the pie chart. So as we have bar for bar graph, hist for histogram, so here we have the function that is pie for pie charts, right? For plotting the pie charts. So let us see how to write the code for plotting the pie charts. What is the percentage of that? How we calculate the percentage, right? So here we go. We have different values like 23, 17, 35, 29 and 12, right? We have, first of all, we have imported both the libraries as done previously also. Then we have called the figure function and then we have called the axis function, right, for showing the x-axis and y-axis of the figure. Then what is the next thing that we have is our list. There are two lists that we have used. The first is for different languages. The second list we have for number of students. So by calling it and giving it as like as a parameter to the pie function, it automatically, you need not have to calculate anything. Only just you call the pie function and put the arguments there. So you are putting the different categories, that is language, then putting the this thing labels, right? In labels you are giving the languages. So languages is what? Languages is specifying the different categories, right? Then auto CP. So auto CP is a, what is auto CP? The proportionate percentage is displayed inside the respective wedge with the help of auto PCT parameter, which is set to percentage 1.2 F percentage, right? For showing this, we need to call the function like auto PCT. Now what it does, like it is showing 14.6, it is showing 19.83, it is showing 10.34, then it is showing uh, 12 is for PHP. Yes. So it is basically automatically it is calculating. You need not have to calculate like total number of like 23 divided by total number of students into 100. You need not have to calculate it. It automatically calculates with the help of when you are plotting the pi function. So with the help of pi function, it automatically gives you the percentage, right? Let us move to the next chart, that is scatter plots. Very, very important and most widely used chart to show the relationship between two variables. We use scatter plots. Scatter plots are used to plot data points or horizontal axis and vertical axis in an attempt to show how much one variable is affected by another variable. So if we check out the relationship between two variables, right? Each row in the data table is represented by a marker. The position depends on its values in the column set on the x and y axis, right? Let us see how it works. Now you have some values on x axis and you have some values, data points, that is like x is this and y is this, right? So how to plot it? Let us see the example. So here red dots are representing the girls and blue dots are representing the boys, right? On x-axis we have grade ranges, on y-axis we have grade scored. Now what are the grade scored? Let us see. So I have already explained you blue dot representing the boys and red dots representing the girls. So first of all we have imported the library, that is Matplotlib. Then we have assigned the grades of girls and then we have assigned the grades to boys. Another range, grades range, we have taken it as interval of like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and so on. Right. Now after this we have called two functions, figure function for plotting the figure and for plotting the axis we have called the figure dot add axis function. Now like for bar chart we have bar. For histogram we have used hist function. For one more chart was there, that was this thing, bar graph, bar, hist, and the earlier one was pie chart. For pie chart we have pi. Now for scatter plots, obviously it is scatter, right? So we have called the function that is scatter, and in within that scatter we have called the we actually have given the arguments x point and y point, right? So like first point is representing the value with girls, like with boys blue. So 10 is the point on x-axis, 10 with boys is 30, so 10 30, then 20 29, then 30 49. So like this we have plotted the graph. For girls graph, what we have taken with grades range and the x point and the y point, right? This is how we calculate the points. On x-axis which is the point, on y-axis which is the point. So accordingly it is just like a line chart only, right? And then we have given the titles as grade range and on the y-axis we have grade score, and we just at the end we know that we just have to show the graph. So with the help of show function we can represent the graph, right? Now let us see some more examples of how to use the Matplotlib. You have just imported the graph, right? You have imported the library, that is matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Then plot, by calling the plot function you are taking four values, that is 1 2 3 4. So you may check out on the y-axis you have 1 2 3 4 and y label is some numbers. So this will going into 0 some numbers from 1 to 4, and from y-axis we have the values from 0 to 3, right? And then we are just printing showing that graph, right? So this automatically y label and x label automatically works like this. You need not have to do anything by calling the plot function, right? Now this is plt dot plot function. Plot function is a versatile function and will take an arbitrary number of argument. For example, to plot x versus y, you can write like this. You can write like this also. Like if you want to put the value 1 and then 1 of y. So you have xy at the same time. Then 2, 4. Then you are putting 2 and then 4. So you are putting like this. Let me show you. So first value is 1. This is also 1. So this is 1 point. Then second point is 2, 4. Then 2 and this is 4. Some tiltness is coming in the graph. Then we have 3, 9. This is 3 and this is somewhere 9. Some tilt in the line you may see. Then we have 4, 16. So this is the last point we have on our pie plot. So this is how a graph can be plotted using PLT plot function, right? Now let us see how to change the different scatter plots, or you may say the icons, the representation, right? So let us see one more example. We have generated a range is going to generate some values. By default it is generating some values. So we have called the package that is numpy and calling the function that is arange, and within arange we are defining some values. Now we have to show the red dashes and green dashes, right? So what we are going to do is we are calling the function that is pipe that is plt.plot plot function we are calling, and t is the ranges of values. Then again we have put the t ranges, and then we have taken for r minus minus, that is for representing in dash line, red dash line. So r is for red, what you need to represent dash dash. The same is with you have with again you are giving the variable that is t and t into 2, right? And you are giving bs for that, right? Then again you are putting 3 lines, the third thing, t into 3. Then you are giving it as green. So the triangles are represented like this. Then you are just printing the signs with some values you have on the screen. So this is the advantage how to represent the data using Matplotlib. Hope you have understood the function of pyplot and how to import these libraries, right? Anything that is to be added, you may change the color as well. So we have predefined colors by calling like r for red, g for green, and you may have blue also. So there are different functions, different like bs means you have blue color, and for triangle we are just using the upper power sign. In python, power sign is represented basically for power of any element we have double asterisk, but for triangle we are representing it as this, like we use in a power of this, right? Hope you have understood the session, and like this session we will have more session on Matplotlib, and I will be making more videos on this. So thank you.